In Lawrenceburg, I'm Kinsey Ogden with the 812. Today I'm joined by members of the Community Project. This organization has given out to the community in various ways over the last couple years. Do you guys want to start by introducing yourselves?
I'm Ken Madden.
I'm Rachel Reynolds.
And I'm Andrea Ewan.
Awesome. And I know we've talked a little bit about some of the things that you guys have done, even things that you have going on today. But before we dive into that, do you want to give us a little bit of a backstory of how this organization got started?
Sure, I'll take that one. In 2020, during COVID, there was a lack of PPE, and one of our other members, Kevin Wang, was able to access that. So we started giving out masks and hand sanitizer and other items. At the decline of COVID, we had this 501c3, and we didn't really want it to go to waste. And there were other projects that we had all been taking on over the years, and we thought, let's give them a house and give them an umbrella to work from. And so we went through the process of amending the 501c3 to being what we need it to be, and then the three of us, along with Kevin Wang and Logan Carr, created the Community Project, Inc. To carry on these projects.
And I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, but what a perfect time, honestly, to get this going around COVID when the world was in a very vulnerable spot and a lot of eyes were opened and hearts were open to it's more than just us, like there's communities in need. But do you guys have any stories that have really stuck with you over the last couple of years of how you have impacted the lives of others?
We could talk all day. And seriously, we never thought for a second the impact and the people that we would meet that needed help. We've had single mothers with children that we've helped get cars. We've had veterans that were found passed out on the street that we helped get an apartment and get a new car. And it's just, and I say we, but the amazing thing is the community behind us, because we find these problems, we find these people that need help, and we take it and we post it on Facebook and help just pours out of the woodwork. We just live in an amazing community.
Yeah, that's great. This is a question for anyone once again, but what does it mean to you to give back to the community?
So I grew up in a family that was very much give back in time and in money, and I think that the one thing that I've always said about giving back is it's not necessarily about us. It's about if you can change one person's life. And yes, there are people out there that are going to take advantage of what we do. We know that. But that one person who needed it, and you can turn their entire life around, that's why you give back. That's why you do what you do. And I think we've discovered that, and we've seen that, and we know that it creates results.
And I would just add that many of the individuals that we've helped through, whether it be finding an apartment, a house, food, Christmas, whatever, they in turn pay it forward. They tend to come back to us and help pass it along. So it creates a whole different kind of community thinking, which is what we're really all about.
That's great. I always like to say, when it comes to giving, it's all about the heart posture, and you can't get caught up in the numbers. The numbers will happen as they're supposed to. Because when you're reaching one life, when they're impacted, they're going to be motivated to touch others. So it's the ripple effect.
Agreed.
And I think that's what's so powerful about what you guys do. Do you want to talk about some of the specific projects that you guys have done throughout the years?
So obviously everyone knows about the blessing boxes. That started during COVID or right around that time. I think for many people around in the community, they were seeing more and more visually people that were homeless. It started with the totes in a couple locations, like the plastic totes. Dearborn County Home Builders Association built us some nice shelters that we now have in 4 locations. That through donations, we fill it, community members fill it on their own. They've become pretty well known in this area, I would say. It's probably one of our biggest, because it's something that's daily. We're doing daily. Our other initiatives are kind of around certain seasons. So we do our Feeding Those in Need the night before Thanksgiving. That started at the Grand Buffet in Lawrenceburg. We've kind of outgrown that space, so now we do it out at the Adult Center. But it's simply volunteers come together. We package hot meals. We deliver those hot meals to individuals the night before Thanksgiving. I think our busiest year we served 1,400 people, and so it's a Dearborn County and Ohio County. There have been years we've reached outside of those counties. We work with SAIOC, the schools, churches, the clearinghouse, so those individuals are identified that way. We do Christmas with Friends, which I'll let Ken kind of go into that a little bit more because that's his baby. But then we just started the No Child Left Behind. This will be year 3 coming up. And so that is to assist those families at Christmas time that don't quite meet the requirements for those to get assistance that are in your lower class. They're more of a middle class. It's a struggle. So we have volunteers that do the shopping, the wrapping, and the delivering of those gifts as well. And then I'll let Ken tell you about Christmas with Friends.
So Christmas with Friends started because of some personal things we were going through, and we weren't going to be able to see our daughter or our grandchildren that year. And it was and I was feeling sorry for myself, and then it was kind of like, man, there's people that go through this all the time. So this was probably November of that year, so a little late start, and people didn't think we'd pull it off, especially my wife. Volunteers came out of the woodwork to volunteer. We're there on Christmas Day, so we had as many volunteers the first year as we did people that came to it. And it's just, we have food, we have music, we have raffles and gifts, and just it's for anyone that would be sitting at home alone. It's not just for poor people. We have homeless people, and we have rich widows. It's a real mix of people, but they don't have to be at home alone on Christmas.
I think also what we'd like to see in the future is we would like to become that place where other organizations can also come for resources so that we're able to point people in the right direction. Because people probably don't know this, but Dearborn County has a lot of amazing resources. Not just us, but SIEOC and, the Heart House, the One Voice. There's just so many places for people to go get help, and a lot of people don't know. So at some point in the future, we do hope to be, I guess,
Hub of some sort.
Yeah, something to give people a way to come together and get whoever needs that assistance to the right parties.
Our ability to network is really what's made this function. I know somebody that knows somebody. Andrea knows somebody, and it's gone from that. Yeah, just one jump to the next.
And I think kind of going off of that, this wouldn't be possible without the 4 or 5 of you guys kind of taking that initiative, but the community rallying behind you with support, just wanting to volunteer their time or even their funds is really kind of what makes this possible. We're actually sitting and recording today from the Batesville Products Inc. headquarters here in Lawrenceburg, and they just donated a check in honor of 812 Day coming up. Do you guys want to talk about this donation today? Were you surprised? Were you anticipating it?
No, we were actually very surprised. I think we spoke with Mary last week, and we didn't really know what we were coming in for today, so it was definitely a surprise. It's always nice to see local businesses supporting others in the community. So obviously, the funds will be put to great use. We have many projects and goals here in the future, so we'll definitely put it to good work here in Dearborn County.
Yeah, and I think we need to do a few shout outs to other incredibly gracious community partners like Mike's Car Wash, who allowed us to do the fundraiser on their opening weekend, Lawrenceburg Speedway, where we just held our music festival,
Parkside Market, who daily cooks hot meals for our homeless that Ken then delivers every day to these individuals. So her sister actually is coming on board now. I think she cooks just as much as Phyllis. I think they're in a competition on who makes the better meal.
But there's countless other people or companies that we could mention. This is just amazing for Batesville Products to do this and us not know anything about it, and it's really cool. I'm very excited.
No one really knows how enjoyable it is to volunteer until they're given opportunities, and I think that with stuff that we're doing. We're allowing people to come in, volunteer, see what's really happening in our community and how they can make an impact, and it just continues on. So when you see other businesses see what we're doing and support us, it just goes a long way.
And the Dearborn Community Foundation. Yeah. They've just, they have so much respect in the area. And when they reach out and give us a grant for something, man, that means so much because they are who they are and they're recognizing us and our work.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I need to mention one more just because they also made a huge impact was the Southeastern Indiana Board of Realtors. They were another big supporter of us. So, yeah.
Just kind of as we close up here, what are some ways that people can get involved if they feel called to?
Well, I mean, obviously we have the 4 blessing boxes around town. If they want to put any kind of non-perishable food items or hygiene items in there, that's great. Our Facebook pages always have sign-ups for our Christmas with Friends, our Thanksgiving meal. We do a mobile food and toy drive in December. We team up with the Dearborn County Young Professionals. They're more than welcome to drop items off there. Or they can even do some of their own initiatives. I know there was Hive Salon over here on Augusta. They had a team building day where they built or created these hygiene bags, and then they passed them out. So even getting your groups together, doing things like that, making donations at Christmas time with toys, or, there's always a need. There's the schools. I mean, I know their resource offices, I think they like to have clothing items for those that may come in with, clothes that need replaced, or they don't have, a birthday, because not everybody gets something like that. I think a lot of us take for granted the simple things that we have that many don't.
And then just my last question, and whoever feels like they have an answer, go for it. But what advice would you give to someone who is kind of on the fence of getting involved in the community, or they feel like, oh, it's a problem that's too big for me to take on?
I personally would tell someone, reach out to one of us. We can share stories. I think it's probably more rewarding for the individual that volunteers than the person receiving it. It's a whole nother level. It's emotional. You can't really explain it, but it's very rewarding. And when you put people together, like, we're determined. Like, we don't take... I know Ken and I don't see the word no. So Andrea kind of she grounds us out a little bit because we think we can accomplish everything. But in numbers, anything can be accomplished.
That's why they put me